Breaking news out of New York, where progressive candidate Zohran Mamdani has stunned the political establishment by defeating former Governor Andrew Cuomo in the Democratic primary. The results just came in, and they're sending shockwaves through the political landscape. Mamdani secured 425,297 votes, representing 43.5% of the total, while Cuomo trailed with 354,989 votes at 36.3%. Brad Lander finished third with 11.4%, and Adrienne Adams rounded out the field with 4.1%. This is a remarkable upset that few political analysts predicted. Mamdani, a Democratic socialist who has positioned himself as the progressive alternative to the establishment, managed to overcome Cuomo's massive name recognition and political machine. The former governor, who resigned amid scandal in 2021, was attempting a political comeback that now appears to have been decisively rejected by Democratic voters. Looking at the borough-by-borough breakdown, we can see where Mamdani built his winning coalition. He dominated in Brooklyn with a 17-point margin, securing strong support across the borough's diverse neighborhoods. Manhattan also went strongly for Mamdani with a 5-point advantage, while he carried Queens by 7 points. Cuomo, meanwhile, showed strength in the Bronx, where he won by 18 points, and Staten Island, which he carried by 9 points. The neighborhood results tell an even more fascinating story about the ideological and demographic divides in New York City politics. Mamdani absolutely dominated in progressive strongholds. In Bushwick, he secured a staggering 79% of the vote to Cuomo's 13%, a 66-point margin. Ridgewood wasn't far behind, giving Mamdani 80% to Cuomo's 11%, for a 69-point advantage. And in Astoria, Mamdani's home turf, he won by 52 points with 68% to Cuomo's 17%. Other progressive neighborhoods showed similar patterns. Greenpoint went for Mamdani by 57 points. East Williamsburg gave him a 62-point edge. Bedford-Stuyvesant supported him by a 43-point margin. These numbers reveal the strength of the progressive movement in gentrifying and diverse working-class neighborhoods across Brooklyn and Queens. Cuomo, meanwhile, performed well in more conservative and moderate areas. Borough Park went for the former governor by 69 points, with Cuomo receiving 80% to Mamdani's 11%. In Midwood, Cuomo won by 53 points. Far Rockaway gave him a 58-point advantage. And in Manhattan Beach, Cuomo secured a dominant 76% of the vote to Mamdani's 10% for a 66-point margin. The Upper East Side was predictably in Cuomo's column, giving him 45% to Mamdani's 29%, a 16-point edge. But surprisingly, even the typically liberal Upper West Side favored Cuomo, albeit by a narrower 5-point margin. What's particularly interesting is how the racial and ethnic makeup of neighborhoods correlated with voting patterns. Predominantly black neighborhoods like East Flatbush, Canarsie, and Brownsville strongly backed Cuomo, with margins of 37, 41, and 41 points, respectively. This suggests Mamdani struggled to connect with black voters despite his progressive platform. Meanwhile, neighborhoods with large numbers of young professionals and gentrifiers, like Williamsburg, Long Island City, and downtown Brooklyn, delivered commanding margins for Mamdani. This generational divide was evident across the city, with younger voters seemingly rejecting Cuomo's brand of centrist politics in favor of Mamdani's more progressive vision. The Jewish vote was notably split, with more secular and progressive Jewish neighborhoods like Park Slope backing Mamdani, while Orthodox areas like Borough Park and Midwood delivered overwhelming margins for Cuomo. This reflects long-standing political divisions within New York's diverse Jewish communities. In Queens, we see fascinating patterns as well. Progressive neighborhoods like Astoria and Jackson Heights delivered strong margins for Mamdani, while more moderate and diverse middle-class areas like Flushing and Forest Hills were much closer, with Cuomo holding slight edges. The results in the Bronx show Cuomo's strength among working-class voters of color. Neighborhoods like Co-op City gave Cuomo a 46-point advantage, while Wakefield supported him by 45 points. Yet even here, there were some bright spots for Mamdani, who managed to win Pelham Parkway by 3 points and Morris Park by 14 points. Staten Island, the city's most conservative borough, predictably went for Cuomo overall, but with interesting variation. The North Shore neighborhoods like St. George were competitive. with Mamdani actually winning by 3 points, while South Shore areas like Tottenville went for Cuomo by wider margins. This election may represent a significant realignment in New York politics. The progressive wing of the Democratic Party, which has been gaining strength in recent years with victories by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Jamal Bowman, and others, has now claimed its biggest prize yet by defeating one of the most powerful political figures in state history. For Cuomo, this defeat likely marks the end of his political career. After governing New York for over a decade with an iron grip, his comeback attempt has been decisively rejected by the voters. His loss is particularly striking, given his massive name recognition advantage and the support he maintained from many establishment figures. Looking at turnout patterns, we see that progressive neighborhoods generally saw higher participation rates, suggesting Mamdani's campaign succeeded in mobilizing his base. The total reported vote of 977,112 represents a significant increase from recent primaries, indicating heightened interest in this contest. In terms of demographic trends, the results show Mamdani performed best among younger voters, college-educated professionals, and in neighborhoods with large numbers of renters. Cuomo's support was strongest among older voters, homeowners, and in more moderate middle-class neighborhoods. The implications of this result could be far-reaching. Mamdani's victory suggests that progressive policies like universal health care, stronger tenant protections, and higher taxes on the wealthy have gained significant traction among Democratic primary voters. It also demonstrates that the progressive wing of the party has built effective organizing infrastructure that can compete with traditional political machines. Meanwhile, in the Republican primary, Curtis Sliwa ran unopposed and will face Mamdani in the general election. While New York City remains overwhelmingly Democratic, Sliwa will likely try to capitalize on concerns about crime and economic issues to make the race competitive. This election will be closely watched nationally as a barometer of the Democratic Party's direction. Mamdani's victory comes as progressives have won a series of high-profile races across the country, suggesting a potential leftward shift within the party. How this plays out in the general election and beyond will be a fascinating political story to follow in the months ahead. For now, Zohran Mamdani can celebrate a stunning upset victory that has reshuffled New York's political landscape and established him as a major political figure overnight. From 43.5% of the vote citywide to dominating margins in progressive neighborhoods, his campaign has demonstrated the growing power of the left wing of the Democratic Party. As the general election approaches, all eyes will be on whether he can unite the party and build on this primary victory to secure the office in November.